Money has always been misunderstood by many people because they see it as something greater than themselves, something they must endlessly chase and struggle for. In truth, money is not a master to be feared. It is a servant that takes orders from you. When one begins to understand this principle, the anxiety and desperation around finances dissolve, and a new relationship with abundance begins to unfold. Life was never designed for man to be enslaved by money. Spirit intended for man to command his good, not beg for it. The problem is that people often reverse this law. They let money dictate their emotions, their peace, and their choices. If there is plenty in the bank, they feel secure. If there is lack, they fall into worry. In doing so, they unconsciously place money above their own divine authority, forgetting that money itself has no power except the power given to it through thought and word. To recognize money as a servant is to reclaim your rightful position as a spiritual being with dominion over all external conditions. Dominion is exercised through the spoken word. The tongue has power to bind or to release, to bring prosperity or to invite struggle. When one says, "I never have enough money," that very statement is a command to lack, and the servant obeys. But when one declares, "Money comes to me freely and abundantly, I am richly supplied," the servant rushes to fulfill the command. The universe is impersonal in this sense. It simply reflects back the words and beliefs you hold with conviction. The shift begins with how you see yourself. If you see yourself as powerless before money, you remain enslaved to it. But if you see yourself as the master, then money naturally takes its rightful place as the tool, the channel, the instrument of good. You no longer run after it, but call it forth with certainty. Just as a servant responds to the master's instruction, so money responds to your word. This is not arrogance, but alignment with spiritual law. God gave man the authority to speak things into existence, and money is included in that dominion. Once this truth is embraced, fear disappears. Money is no longer a looming force that decides your fate. It is an obedient energy that follows direction. You may begin to speak, "Money, you are my servant. You come when I call. You flow in abundance to fulfill my needs and desires under grace and in perfect ways." These words, spoken with unwavering faith, carry power that rearranges circumstances. The job, the client, the gift, the opportunity, the unexpected check, all of these are simply expressions of the servant obeying the command. Those who understand this live differently. They are no longer anxious about bills or fearful of lack. They know that as long as their word is strong and their faith unshaken, money cannot withhold itself. It must arrive, for it is bound by law to serve the one who commands with truth. This is the beginning of financial freedom. Not by striving, but by speaking with authority and allowing money to take its rightful place as the obedient servant of Spirit's abundance. The supply of everything you could ever need or desire already exists in the unseen realm. This is one of the greatest truths of life, yet most people live as if their good is far away, scarce, or dependent on luck and human effort. They look only at the outer world, at the evidence of their senses, and conclude that if money is not in their pocket, then it does not exist for them. But spiritual law reveals that abundance is not created in the moment you receive it. It was already present in the invisible storehouse long before you called it forth. Every idea of prosperity, every opportunity, every sum of money is part of an infinite supply that belongs to all. Just as air is everywhere and always available, so too is financial supply. You do not need to create it or struggle for it, you only need to align with it. Imagine electricity flowing invisibly in the atmosphere. A lamp cannot see electricity, but when connected, the light appears. In the same way, when you connect with the invisible substance of abundance through your word and faith, money appears in visible form. The unseen is always greater than the seen, and it is in the unseen where your wealth is stored. When people forget this truth, they shrink their possibilities. They believe money can only come through one job, one client, or one limited channel. They block themselves with thoughts like, "There is no way I can get the money I need," or "There aren't enough opportunities for me." Such thinking ignores the vast, infinite supply of spirit. The universe never runs out of wealth. The channels of delivery may change, but the supply itself is limitless. The money you require could come from places you have never considered, through people you do not yet know, or through ideas you have not yet imagined. To draw from this invisible supply, you must recognize it as present now. Instead of saying, "I hope money comes," affirm, "The invisible supply is mine now, and it appears in perfect ways." Speak it until you feel it. Speak it until the unseen becomes more real to you than the lack in front of you. This is the act of faith, knowing that behind every closed door there is an open one already prepared. Behind every seeming loss there is a greater gain waiting to be revealed. Behind every empty hand there is a divine storehouse overflowing with riches. Your word is the key that opens this storehouse. The command must go forth. Infinite Spirit, open the way for immediate, lavish supply. Huge sums of money now come to me, under grace, in perfect ways. When this word is spoken with conviction, the invisible begins to move. Circumstances shift, doors open, opportunities unfold, and what was unseen suddenly appears. The supply was always there. Your faith and declaration simply pulled it into visibility. In this way, you learn to walk by faith and not by sight, knowing that the invisible is always richer, fuller, and infinitely abundant. The spoken word holds tremendous power, but it becomes effective only when it is charged with faith. To speak a command without belief is to utter empty sounds, but to speak with conviction is to set the universe in motion. Faith is the substance that gives life to your declarations. Without it, your words drift away like smoke in the wind. With it, they become like fire, igniting unseen forces that rearrange circumstances in your favor. This is why the command for wealth must be spoken with absolute certainty. When you say, "I now speak the word of plenty," huge sums of money flow to me instantly, under grace, in perfect ways. You are not asking, wishing, or hoping. You are declaring a truth and expecting it to manifest. Faith transforms a mere affirmation into a decree. Many repeat words like rituals. Thinking repetition alone will bring results, but nothing happens if the heart is filled with doubt. Faith is not found in endless words, but in the energy behind them. One word spoken in faith can accomplish more than 1,000 said in fear. When you command with unwavering belief, the vibration of that command penetrates the invisible realm, setting in motion the chain of events that lead to visible supply. This principle mirrors the authority of a king. A king does not beg his subjects, he speaks, and it is done. His power rests in the certainty that his word carries weight. You too hold this authority when you speak prosperity into existence. The moment you declare, "Money comes to me instantly and continually," you release a decree into the universe. If you hold faith, the decree is honored and fulfilled. If you doubt, you cancel your own command, and the servant cannot obey. Faith must also be unwavering. If today you declare abundance, and tomorrow you lament lack, you send out conflicting commands. The law of prosperity responds only to consistency. Just as a seed must remain planted to grow, your word must remain rooted in faith to bear fruit. This is why it is important to silence inner doubt and refuse to speak against your own good. Never say, "I cannot afford this," or "I do not see how it can happen." Instead, replace such thoughts with declarations of faith. All doors are open to me. My supply is unlimited. Huge sums of money rush to me now. To speak with faith is to align your words with spiritual truth rather than with appearances. The outer world may seem scarce, but faith looks beyond appearances and holds fast to the invisible abundance that already exists. The more you train yourself to speak with conviction, the faster your words manifest. What once felt like imagination becomes reality, for faith bridges the unseen with the seen. Therefore, the command must always be spoken with certainty, joy, and expectation. When you speak the word of plenty in faith, you activate the law of abundance. You are not pleading for money, you are summoning it, knowing it must appear. This is the way to turn spoken words into living power and to transform invisible supply into tangible wealth. Fear is the greatest enemy of prosperity, for it robs the spoken word of its power and paralyzes the flow of abundance. When a person allows fear to dominate, they unconsciously command lack into their life. They may declare wealth with their lips, but if their heart trembles with doubt, the law cannot act on their words. Fear whispers that there is not enough, that the money will not come, that it is too late or too impossible. If left unchallenged, these whispers grow into strongholds that block the channel of supply. The way to overcome fear is not to ignore it, but to silence it with truth. Truth is stronger than fear because it is eternal and unchanging. While fear is rooted in appearances, truth is rooted in divine law. Appearances may show an empty purse, unpaid bills, or uncertain opportunities, but truth declares, "There is no lack in God, therefore there is no lack in me." The moment this truth is spoken, fear begins to dissolve. It cannot remain where truth is boldly declared. When doubt says, "It is too much for me to receive," truth responds, "Infinite supply knows no limit, and my good comes freely and instantly." These affirmations are not mere words but spiritual weapons. They silence the false evidence of lack and restore the mind to faith. Every fear that arises is an opportunity to strengthen your command. Instead of seeing fear as a setback, treat it as a signal to reaffirm the truth. Each time doubt whispers, you can respond with a louder and more certain declaration. Say, "I am divinely supplied. Huge sums of money flow to me now, under grace, in perfect ways." In this way, fear becomes fuel for deeper faith. The stronger the doubt, the stronger your declaration must be until the vibration of truth overwhelms the voice of fear. It is also important to understand that fear thrives on repetition. People unconsciously feed it by constantly speaking of lack, rehearsing worries, or entertaining worst-case scenarios. Just as affirmations of abundance create prosperity, affirmations of worry create more lack. To break this cycle, you must discipline your tongue. Refuse to give voice to fear. Speak only words of faith, even when appearances scream otherwise. Your spoken word plants seeds in the unseen, and what you plant will return to you. As you consistently silence fear with truth, your confidence grows. You begin to feel a sense of peace even before the money arrives, because you know the law is at work. This inner calm is proof that faith has taken root and fear has lost its hold. From this place of certainty, manifestations appear quickly, for nothing blocks the channel of supply. The moment fear is silenced, abundance flows freely. Money, opportunities, and blessings rush in because nothing resists them. The truth always triumphs when spoken with authority. Each time you declare truth over fear, you strengthen the habit of faith, and eventually fear loses all power. When fear is silenced completely, prosperity becomes the natural state of your life, for the law of abundance can operate without hindrance. One of the greatest mistakes people make in the pursuit of prosperity is limiting the channels through which money can arrive. They believe supply must come only through their job, their business, or some expected source, and in doing so, they close themselves off from the countless avenues through which spirit can deliver abundance. The universe is not restricted to human logic. It is unlimited in its ways, and when you release your attachment to one channel, you open yourself to the miraculous. Money is a form of energy, and energy can flow through any number of streams. It may come through your work, but it can just as easily arrive through unexpected gifts, refunds, inheritances, opportunities, or new ideas that generate wealth. When you insist that it must come only through one channel, you are binding the infinite. You are saying to Spirit, "I only trust you to supply me through this one path." Yet divine supply is never bound. The law of prosperity works best when you declare what you desire, but leave the how in the hands of the infinite. This is why it is said, "Do not limit the channel." You must affirm that money comes to you freely and in perfect ways, without dictating how it should appear. For example, one may say, "Huge sums of money come to me now, through unexpected avenues, under grace, in perfect ways." This declaration leaves room for spirit to choose the path of least resistance. By removing limitation, you give permission for abundance to arrive in ways far beyond your imagination. Often, blessings come from directions you least expect. A new connection may introduce you to an opportunity. An old debt may suddenly be repaid. A forgotten investment may multiply. Even a simple idea, when acted upon, may open a door to great wealth. These are not coincidences but manifestations of supply flowing through channels you had not considered. The key is to remain open, receptive, and free from rigid expectations. When a person clings to one source, such as a job or a single client, they begin to confuse the channel with the supply itself. But no job, no person, no business is your true source. They are merely instruments. The true source is spirit, and spirit can use an infinite number of instruments to provide what is yours by divine right. If one channel closes, another will open. If one stream dries up, a greater one will appear. The river of supply never ceases, it only changes course. Therefore, release all anxiety about where money will come from. Do not try to force it through human effort or reasoning. Simply command it with faith. Declare it belongs to you now, and allow spirit to choose the path. Your role is to stay expectant, to speak the word of abundance daily, and to watch with gratitude as doors open in surprising and delightful ways. In this way, you experience the fullness of divine supply, arriving through unlimited channels, exactly when and how you need it. The spoken word is the tool through which invisible substance takes form, and when understood correctly, it becomes the greatest instrument of prosperity. Words are not empty sounds. They are commands sent into the unseen that shape conditions, open doors, and attract opportunities. Just as an artist uses a brush to paint images onto a blank canvas, so the individual uses the spoken word to paint abundance onto the canvas of life. This is why it is said that your word is your wand. It creates, directs, and commands the flow of money and success. Many people use their words carelessly, speaking of lack, debt, and struggle, not realizing they are casting spells against themselves. Every time someone declares, "I can't afford it," or "I never have enough money," they are sending out decrees that the universe must obey. The law of prosperity cannot contradict your own declarations. It can only reflect them back. If the word you send out is weak or negative, the results will mirror that weakness. But when your words are charged with faith, joy, expectation, they return multiplied, producing prosperity in visible form. The power lies in consistency. One declaration of abundance, followed by many words of doubt, produces confusion in the invisible. The law responds most quickly to those who speak steadily, joyfully, and without contradiction. This is why daily affirmations carry such power. By consistently declaring, "Huge sums of money flow to me now," under grace and in perfect ways, you are training the mind to accept abundance as normal. Over time, the vibration of those words becomes your inner belief, and once belief is established, manifestation must follow. The spoken word must also be filled with feeling. A flat statement, spoken without energy, has little effect. But a declaration spoken with joy, gratitude, and certainty sends forth a vibration that cannot be denied. When you speak, imagine the reality of what you are declaring. Feel the joy of having received it already. This emotional charge gives life to the words and propels them into manifestation more swiftly. It is also important to guard your words in casual conversation. Many people undo their own prayers and affirmations by speaking carelessly throughout the day. They may begin the morning with a powerful decree of wealth, yet later complain about bills or speak of poverty. Each negative statement cancels out the earlier command. To live by the principle that your word is your wand, you must become disciplined. Let every word you speak align with abundance, possibility, and divine supply. Speak of money as your obedient servant, always arriving at the right time and in overflowing measure. When you truly grasp that your word is your wand, you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You recognize that your future is shaped by the words you choose to speak today. Prosperity is not a distant dream, but a reality created by your daily declarations. The more faithfully you wield this wand, the more your life becomes a reflection of abundance, proving that the spoken word is indeed the key to wealth, success, and fulfillment.